Happy Friday. It's Molly and Roz, and we decided to do a virtual happy hour with you all. So cheers.
Cheers.
Yes, we got to take a drink.
Yay. Yes, we do.
So, gosh, I have so much I want to say, so I'm going to try to stay on point. Roz, Lainey, Laura Lee, and I, we've been just kind of, last night we did a virtual happy hour, the four of us, and we're just feeling kind of this funk in the air with, engagements down in our group, or, attorneys are kind of going silent, or they're in fetal position and frozen, or all this SBA crap and, PPP and trying to fill out all these applications, and all the energy and the focus went on there this week for all the assistance available, what have you. And Roz called me this morning. She's like, all right, I'm ready to record day 5 of Google reviews and Google. And I don't know. I just feel this weird feeling because, well, you say what you said to me, Roz.
Yeah. So it started yesterday. I did the training on YouTube, and the whole time I was in there, I felt all over the place. I didn't feel like I was making any sense. If I had to put it into terms, I would say I felt like I was cramming my agenda down everybody when they were maybe not in a place to receive it and hear it and get the value that I was trying to carry and to bring into the group. So I struggled with it all night. I just thought there's something off, there's something wrong. Everyone's quiet. Everyone that I talked to was in a place of overwhelm. That was the constant word that I kept hearing was, I just feel overwhelmed, or just really going through the motions and checking the box in their day in and their day out. And so I texted Molly. I'm like, I just feel like you and I need to show up together in the group and just check in. Just check in on everybody and see where they were. And I loved it because you responded. You're like, I'm feeling the same way.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about that last night, and I love it. I love just the timing, because after you, Laura Lee, Lainey, and I, and next week we're going to do another live fireside chat with you all. So we'll get that out to you, I think next Thursday evening or something. We're going to do it. We'll get details. But yeah. I said to Roz after, because Lainey, Laura Lee, Roz and I were talking about, people are so focused on these loans. And Lainey was like, it's just so disheartening to have people scrambling, doing all this paperwork, getting kicked out, spending 4 hours trying to get applied for a potential $10,000 or what have you, where, I wish we could shift the attorneys to, if you get one more case or 2 cases or what have you, you'd have the same amount of money. Do apply, but delegate it to your bookkeeper or something of that nature. And after I had this kind of rumble inside me, and I sat down and started going through, I had a stack of notes that I had on my office desk that I brought home. And I started going through my coaching notes of different events I went to last year, Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, different ones that I kind of just have them sitting there. I'm like, what am I doing with these notes? And sometimes I'll do a podcast. Sometimes I'll do something with them. And on the top of that was a speech Tony Robbins gave about, I am better than okay. And when Roz texts me this morning, she goes, do you have a minute? And I'm like, uh-oh, what's wrong? And she's like, I'm about to go live, and I just have this really unsettling feeling. I'm like, oh my God. I ripped through all of my journals last night, had them taped to my bedroom wall. I'm like, there's some message we have to give. And so we decided to do a happy hour with you all. And I don't know, Roz, you think I just kind of do what I did with you a little bit ago and just read kind of the notes?
I do. I think you just read through them just like you did with me, and I listened to it, and it hit home. It was where what I needed to hear too. I mean, everybody I think right now is just in a place of uncertainty, and they don't know what to do. And so they're either doing a million things or nothing. And so when you were reading it to me, we were just kind of going through it, and I was like, holy smokes. One thing I do want to I feel like I should preface what I ended after you read, but I feel like we should park this here and then you read it,
Yeah.
which is, guys, I want to give everyone just complete permission right now to know that we're showing up in driver mode, which is go for the conversions and create your funnel and launch your funnel and do this and do that and the other. And, consider too that a lot of these things that you're doing right now, they might not land and you might not get them in your funnel and all that. But it's more about right now developing relationships, right? And showing up and moving the needle, whether it's right or wrong, and getting the data points and all that. So I want to give you all complete permission to consider that you showing up right now in your ads, it's not necessarily even about the ad. It's about the value that you create and developing the relationship and just getting them into your world. And then you can worry about the rest later, and giving you permission too to just think of it as, these people might not be making your phone ring right now. A lot of you are, like, your phones are ringing out the book, which is a good thing. Some people are, some not so much. But knowing that if they're not closing, you're not converting them, that doesn't necessarily mean they're telling you no right now. They're paying attention to you, and they're hearing you, and they're seeing you, and you're showing up for them in their world right now, which is completely different than it was 3 weeks ago. So really give yourself permission to just kind of pause and think, you're just creating a bigger pond to be fishing in. And that's a good thing. And so don't look at, everything that you're doing right now. Give yourself permission to just, you're showing up. So I'm going to let you take it from here, because everything that you said was amazing.
Yeah. And I want to piggyback on that a little bit, because you're exactly right. And you and I were talking about it, even though, we're talking about conversions, traffic, blah, 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 all that. At the end of the day, and you and I talked about this earlier today, Roz, it's if you have something that you can take and systematize and give to your marketing coordinator, make sure Google's up to speed, make sure this, what have you. You feel good when you're in action. You feel purposeful. You feel it's not all about the hustle and the drive. No. And yes, it is about making a difference and providing for clients and things of that nature, but it's also you're giving purpose to your team when you're giving them something to do. And I really want to read this. It just, when you were saying that. So Lainey had sent Roz and I a text, and, we're scraping each other off the floor all day long too. And so she sent us this text, and she goes, "This is why we're going to keep doing what we're doing." People are like, "What are you guys doing in this Facebook group and giving all this stuff away? Why are you charging? I don't understand why you're doing this." And we talked about that with Laura Lee and Lainey last night. And we're like, we've been in this industry for 20, collectively 80 years, but, but of course we don't look 80. And we talk, like, this is our heart and soul. Like, Steve Warwall posted something on our page that Georgia just approved, like mobile notaries and stuff. And Lainey's in tears about it, for God's sake. Like, because she's just so excited for the attorneys that they have a solution. And so she was going back and forth with an attorney that was really, really stuck on signings and how to handle it, blah, blah, blah. And she sends this text to us, and she goes, this is why we're going to keep showing up every day, regardless if we're getting paid or not. And the attorney replied and said, "Please know I am super thankful for the support you and your team have been providing the estate planning community. I'm not at a point where I can afford to outsource my document drafting, but I'll get there. And I will certainly be considering back office drafting solutions. You've shown your heart for service, and that's invaluable."
That's so huge. I love that.
She just sent this like 23 minutes ago.
I mean, it's true. It's true. So think about this, like what she was saying. So when they're ready, and I'm saying when, because I know that they will be, right? Because they're in movement right now, which shows their true character. She's going to be the first person that they think of.
Absolutely.
Won't think of anybody else. And that's what we're trying to portray is when, it's not about anything else more than showing up right now.
Okay, so before I go into my Tony Robbins little soapbox here, can you do me a favor? Would you read that Brene Brown
Oh,
quote,
yes.
Roz? Because here's it. Roz actually ordered it. Did you get it yet?
I haven't gotten it yet, and here's why. It's so funny.
It's in China.
No, we found another one that was titled "The Woman in the Arena."
Oh,
and so I'm like, I want that one instead. And
awesome.
we found it. So here's the man in the arena. Brene Brown attaches onto it all the time, but it's an original quote by Theodore Roosevelt. I'm going to read it. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doers of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives violently, who errs, who comes short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who never know victory or defeat. And I can't read that without tearing up a little bit, literally. It kind of makes me cry every time that I read it. It's so incredibly true.
I know. We will always text that back and forth. Like, I'm in the arena, getting my ass kicked.
I'm getting my ass kicked, and it sucks so bad, and it hurts. And when you do that, when you go into those places, it makes you want to play small, right? It makes you want to hide when you're feeling like you're getting your butt kicked in the arena. You're like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. And sometimes we all have those days where we go, all right, I'm done for the day. I'm just going to go in the room. I'm going to go take a bath. I'm going to cry or what have you. Do what you got to do. And then you get back into it. That was one of the conversations I actually had with Paloma this week. He's like, how are you? I'm like, I got my butt kicked and it sucks. And I'm putting on my big girl pants and I'm getting back in there. Yesterday was a bad day. So we all have our times where we feel like, but I'm going to challenge you. Just don't play small. Know that it's going to trip you up. You get your ass kicked in the arena. You all know this as entrepreneurs. We get our butts kicked every day, right?
Yeah.
It's what you do in the moments and getting back out there. And like I said, every time I read that, I cry.
I know. I love it. Oh, yeah. So good. Yeah. All right. We'll post that quote in the bottom, and then maybe you could be creative and put it in your office if it resonates with you.
Yeah.
I love that. You know, one thing I want to say, I've heard the best advice around grief, and maybe you guys can use this with your clients as well, is not how are you, but how are you today? And I think it's pretty appropriate for this time. Mm-hmm. You know, I love what you said. I'm getting my ass kicked today, but I'm going to take a bath. I'm going to cry my eyes out. I'm going to go to bed. And tomorrow I'm going to rock it. And I don't know about all of you, but I have felt like that, where I feel like it's a roller coaster. And one day I'm crushing it. And then another day I need to be peeled off the ground.
It can happen. One day can be the best day ever, right? And the next day you're in fetal position.
But don't make it about money. This is my challenge for all of us. Like, it can't be about money. It can be because you're exhausted from serving. Don't look at your money, or don't put your focus fully, wholly on your money right now. And I love what Roz said. And she's like, God, I'm just feeling this little inconsistency in me a little bit, like where I'm making it about the conversions, about action and what have you. And it's putting these best practice approaches into the fabric of your business going forward. But the result, yes, you need money. Yes, you need to generate money, but that can't be the energy you're bringing into it, because money is just energy. And I'm going to talk about that right now. So I think, should I go into kind of my notes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So a year ago, which is so crazy, a year ago, I saw Tony Robbins, Gary Vee. I went to a summit here in Denver, and it was great. And like I said last night, I just felt this calling and picked up my notes, and I picked up these notes from that event. So I'm just going to share them with you guys. And if you like it, I'd be more than happy to type them up and post them in the group. Just let me know. But he talked about, you're going to be better than okay. I'm better than okay. And he started with talking about, you're never going to get there. There is no there. Life is all about expansion. And I'm going to keep saying yes to my desire and greatness and keep moving, stay in action. And the moment I say I can't, I don't know how, etc., you're cutting off your expansion. The meaning of life is development, more life, and expansion. And you are in full control of your freedom. And I love what he says is you must be capable of using and enjoying more money. And this is really critical because money was built for exchange and it's energy. Money is only energy. You you have it to keep in movement. It has to stay in movement. And you can't be thinking that you're going to run out of it. So I really love this because Lainey said this last night in our kind of virtual happy hour. She goes, it makes me so sad that people are spending 4 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours of their time, but also their energy on these SBA loans and just worried about getting possibly $10,000 up front and then, whatever else is available on the back end. And versus just picking up the phone and connecting with someone and they would probably make 4x that. Like the fear that they're putting into, and we all know, I mean, Lainey and I have Lainey, Roz and I actually all have the same bookkeeper. I'm like, Tina, I'm not touching that shit with a 10-foot pole because it stresses me out and it makes me grouchy. And if I have to do that before I go into a client meeting, I'm going to bring that energy right in there. I can't make it from a scarcity. Laura Lee, we were just talking about, I even said, it stinks that, we can't even do the PPP because a lot of my employees, like many, are 1099. And Laura Lee's like, I'm not even going to spend time on that right now at all. I mean, because I'll just focus on, let other people that need it, and I'll focus my energy on connecting with other prospective clients or serving other clients. I'm like, I love that mindset. So, and I love it.
And so I love what you're saying. And I really want everyone to, when you think that you're doing that, give yourself some type of trigger or something that you can, get your,
anchor to
checks and check yourself and think, I'm not going to let that control my mind right now. I'm going to do a pattern break right now. So, I always think of a different word, and I love what you said is energy. Like that's my trigger word for me because it's so powerful because it can literally suck me down if I let it. And if I just kind of trigger and go energy, I just stop for a minute and I go, you're doing it. You're limiting your ability right now to grow with the energy that you're putting out. So I challenge you all to just kind of think of a trigger word or some way that you can break that pattern because it's really easy to kind of slowly creep into it, right? Like you just kind of slowly creep into it. So you got to figure out a way that you can pull yourself out of it when you identify that you're doing it. And that can be a hard thing to do, but it's so necessary.
Oh, it's necessary. It's not hard. It's necessary. Yeah. And I find your trigger word. Tony Robbins always talks about clapping your hands or finding something, or yours is energy. For me, it's about tone, or frustration. When I feel myself frustrated, it is 100% that I am disaligned. I am swimming upstream with cinder blocks wrapped around my ankles. So, and then I'm making everyone else around me. I mean, Roz experienced it this week. I was hair on fire crazy. And she's like, okay, I'm not going to talk to you right now. You're being crazy. So
I felt like I was the same way. I'm like, two crazy people together is not going to be a good thing. So let's just back away right now.
So, I mean, the speech or his breakout session was amazing. And so if you are spending time chasing, rabbits, so to speak, get rid of that. Give it to your bookkeeper, whoever you have to, and just put your energy into connection and service. And I don't say don't apply for all these loans and what have you, but it shouldn't be you as an entrepreneur, as a relationship person, as a connector of your law firm. You know what I love? He said too, how many of you want to do something, but you stop yourself because you don't have the money? especially now. So marketing initiatives, hiring a coach, personal development, anything that's going to help with your growth projects that I talked about, I think on last week's event, like you have to be investing in your business right now. Do not start. There's certain things you get rid of, but I do not start going like uninformed slashing a year P&L. Don't do it, but it's got to be invested. I was on a summit and someone said, right now I'm investing in all my employees being in a personal development program right now.
Oh, wow.
More than ever. Like we have time, business is still great, but we have time to do it. And they're like, I'll do it on the nights, the weekends, what have you. I just need to manage my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be in a place of growth in the future right now.
That's awesome.
This is the other thing I love. And Roz and I kind of had this conversation where she's like, I feel a little incongruent that I'm talking about the hustle and conversions and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, this is exactly what Tony Robbins talked about in his speech. You have the drive. You're an entrepreneur, or you are locked arms with an entrepreneur and you work for a small business owner. So innately, in your DNA is drive. Don't feel bad about the drive. If it feels like it's a grind versus drive, then you're not digging your journey. But if it's definitely about the drive, then, what Tony said, and I'm going to quote him, there's going to be an F-bomb here. I fucking love the drive and I love the journey. And I have a love for a delightful life and a delightful business. So I don't know about any of you, but I've had friends and family and stuff like sort of shaming me about like, you're hustling, like you're doing a ton of shit right now, you're burning yourself out or, whatever you need to. No, like I'm in my element. I'm in my zone. I feel like this is what I've been waiting for. What we've been waiting for is just to deliver. So, I mean, I don't know where you're sitting at, but sometimes when you have a drive, you hear you shouldn't be selling right now. It's not about selling. It's about educating. It's about informing, and it's about enrolling and empowering and giving people a flashlight to their future.
Yeah, I love that. And don't forget, like everybody sees you, whether you know this in your heart or not, you're seen as a leader, as an entrepreneur in your community. And so showing up, like you were just saying, Molly, they're actually looking for that. Right. And you're creating, if you have employees, you're paying their paycheck, like you're making a difference. You're making a difference. And you may not feel that way because it's innate to you. Like you were saying, it's how you're wired. Don't underestimate the value that you're creating just by being an entrepreneur and pouring into your community and making a difference and showing light and developing relationships right now.
Yeah. And many of you, when you join the group here, we'll capture the questions or, how you answer. What are you looking for? What do you need right now? Many people are saying, I'm scared to be on video or be out front and things of that nature. And, Brene Brown also talks about the rumble in the wrestling, which is an inside job. And many of you have a message, your audience, your clients, your work of art that you do in your area of law. And if you are feeling this rumbling, and if you're like many other entrepreneurs right now, your creativity is off the charts.
Yeah.
Like you see everything as opportunity and if only and what if and blah, blah, blah. Like if you're feeling that rumbling, that's your sign, that's your drive. That is your internal barometer that you got to get over yourself, and we'll help you with that. But it's not about you. It's not about us right now at all. It is about who you're serving.
Love that.
And this is the thing he says too, is the subconscious mind runs the program. And until the program is changed, you will remain stuck So if your programming is, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, so and so down the road has a bigger marketing budget than me, or whatever it might be, like, why even bother that, I can't compete with X, Y, and Z, or I look stupid on, I can't tell you how many of you are like, I'm not good on video. And then when I have many of you, we ask you to post it in the group, and some send it private, which is fine. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
you're amazing. And they're like, well, I feel like my eyes are all,
Yeah.
nobody's paying attention, but what's coming out of your mouth, the value that you have in your message is extraordinary. Like,
Yes.
nobody's paying attention to your unwaxed eyebrows.
Yeah. Nobody is. I love that. It's so true. And they do. It's like you're paying attention to every little thing, like your movement, your eyes, and none of that matters because the value that you create is no one's even paying attention to any of that stuff.
Yeah.
No, nobody's even looking at any of that stuff. So be gentle on yourself.
Yeah. And you know what I love that he says too? If we are confused and we feel like we're going to lose love, safety, money, belonging, clients, what we're conditioned to as human beings is to do everything to avoid that confusion. And what he challenged all of us to is to step into that confusion, to look it square in the eyes and see where you're confused, because confusion is a habit. You pay attention to that. When you hear people say, I don't know, or they're constantly confused, it's just a pattern and a habit.
It's interesting. I love that you're saying that because we were talking about that. Remember, and I was telling you, I said, I feel like there's a bottleneck right now with what I'm doing, right? In the company, we were talking about that. And this just hit me. And I was like, okay, here it is. But I was pushing it away because I think that you also, when you're confused about something, right, you got to also embrace the vulnerability that comes with that. So also, what I'm going to say here is I feel like that was maybe an excuse on my part to not do what I was doing because I felt like I was letting my team down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I love that because I kept questioning it. Like, where is it? Where is the breakdown? Where is it? What's going on? And so there was confusion there. And I was like, I got to figure this out. And it was about, what it was really about was I feel like I'm letting people down. I'm letting Molly down. And so what can I do to step into that and to make it better? And I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do moving forward. And you gave me the space to do that, which I have a tremendous amount of gratitude for. So I love that you're saying that. It just hit me, right? Because we just had this conversation before going on the live.
Yeah.
And I was like, here's what I'm going to do. Like, the solution was right in front of me because I pulled it out of momentum, but I didn't put the two together because I was living in confusion around it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and that's exactly right. Because and you'll always hear me say this, once you go to the whiteboard, once you go to paper and you identify what the confusion is, and then you can come to a place of solution. Then you come to a place of action versus sitting in, what Tony Robbins even says, you have to choose. Like, you can choose to sit in confusion and or overwhelm and or panic or fear or what have you. But if clarity, the need and the desire for clarity isn't present, then you don't think you're going to survive. And it's that innate, like you have a saber-toothed tiger coming after you. And what he says is and I'm reading my notes here, this makes it hard to ask tough questions. Once you're willing to ask the tough questions, then, what makes it hard is when you are not clear on that and you're not clear on what you need and what you want. So when you're willing to ask the tough questions, that provides clarity, and then it gets you out of confusion, and then it gets you out of overwhelm and panic and all those other things. You keep hearing us say emotions in motion. You keep hearing us talk about make the next right move. You keep hearing us keep it moving, all that things. That's what shifts you and shifts your subconscious of moving into I can versus I can't, moving into enough versus not enough, coming from love versus fear. moving into belief versus doubting. Right?
Yes.
I love that he said that, because fear is coming from a place of everything not to lose. You hear Roz talk about all the time, white knuckling. And I love when you say that, versus love or belief or whatever term you want to replace that with is coming from a place of I'm going to win. And what do I have to gain here? What do I have to do to have what I want? Wherever that has the most energy, it's going to create. So if it's fear and worry, going to get more fear and worry. What do you do different when you're excited versus when you're bummed out? And I love that because you make it super simple. Like, I'm feeling like shit. I'm feeling bummed out. I'm in worry. Okay, what am I thinking right now? And what is the energy that I'm bringing to this?
Yeah.
And what he says is, on the other side of suffering is freedom. And I think that every time I hear that word, that's what we're all want: financial freedom, emotional freedom, mental freedom, freedom from owning the file. Like, there, and you all can resonate probably with this and appreciate this. There's no worse feeling than when you owe a client something and you're behind the eight ball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is not freedom at all. That is not freedom. And that's what we're all doing. So here's what he gave us, this exercise: what I'm doing when I'm fearful and I'm worried. And just write it down and be conscious of what you're feeling. Because then you can make a choice, and you can make a choice from that. You no longer get to just run around and saying, I feel like shit, or I'm fearful or worried. Once you identify it, and then what I do when I'm excited and I'm tuned in, I'm turned on, I'm tapped in, I'm aligned, and pay attention to what you're thinking and feeling, and don't let yourself off the hook until you shift it towards what you want. The level of honesty and transparency you have with yourself is what gets you around the corner. I love that.
I know. That's so huge. Wow.
I'm going to say that again. The level of honesty and transparency you have with yourself is what gets you to turn the corner. That's it. So what am I doing when I'm fearful, worried, anxiety, letting myself off the hook? And what am I doing when I'm excited and aligned?
Yeah.
They're very different. You know what you're doing.
That's so telling. Yeah.
This is another thing that I love that he said, and I think this really is in alignment with selling right now, or, whatever head trash any of us have around it. He said, who loses if you don't win? Now's the time to get the results you want. And if not, it's not serving you. Then find another way and burn the boats on the right, wrong thinking. Wrong keeps you stuck in your pattern. And he gave us some things to say that when people start saying, balking at you or what have you, you can say something back about your service that you're delivering and how you're showing up fully expressed and not afraid of being you when other people are really just afraid to be them. And what aspect of yourself are you denying by not showing up? He said, this is the thing, law of demand. Where there is no demand, there is no evidence of supply. So when you're really clear on your numbers, I demand X, whatever you need, $1 million or whatever it means, with zero doubt. Do the math, decide on your action, then take the inspired action that is aligned with your vision, your gratitude, and your celebration of being in service. And I love that celebration piece. Lainey and I have talked about that for years. We never let ourselves celebrate. And entrepreneurs suck at letting themselves celebrate, even the small victories.
Oh, yeah. It's such a good point. You got to stop and celebrate that stuff. It's so huge.
And then he says, so what do you want? Are you decided and really clear on what you want? And here's the crucial piece. Are you willing to do the work? Because there's a coaching moment and a post-coaching moment, and you have to hold yourself accountable. Most of us suck at holding each other accountable, even if you're the Tony Robbins or the greatest coach or Brendan Burchard or what have you. So if you are not investing in accountability right now, it is the greatest investment that you can make in hiring a coach. No, I'm going to be as bold as say is it's a non-negotiable right now.
I would agree, especially right now. Right now, your mindset right now is probably the most valuable thing that you can invest in right now in your business for you and for your family, hands down.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say mindset, because at that point he said, you have to manage your mind. And he quoted Ralph Waldo Emerson, and a man is what he thinks about all day long. Mm. So if you're thinking about you're losing your shirt, you're losing your money, you're whatever it is, shift it right now. And you have to see yourself as someone capable of taking inspired different action. Mm. You're not the same person you were a month ago. None of us are.
And none of us are. The other side of all of this, it will be forever changed.
Thankfully, yay. Like you're going to be like, holy crap, I didn't know I was capable of all that. Whatever it is. Even the people are like, oh my gosh, I yesterday did an interview with the law firm, and the candidate shows up and she goes, I'm so sorry, this is only the second Zoom that I've ever done. And the attorney goes, oh, honey, I am so way ahead of you. This is my third. Like, oh, I love that. They were all proud of themselves. They're like, oh my gosh. What? Then they were like, I know how to mute you. Like they were getting all fancy with the,
That's so awesome.
So this is one thing he said, and I'll end it kind of with this. Stop running around like a scared bunny rabbit, afraid to lose. How appropriate is this message a year ago that I picked up last night for today? Like he was like, evergreen. Oh my,
it is evergreen. It is an entrepreneurial, like people, you need to hear this every day. Like these are the words that you need to be filling your brain with so that you can continue to show up fulfilled, right? And light. Otherwise, I mean, like I told Molly, like when I showed up, I was like, I felt like I was a facade. Like my imposter syndrome was through the roof. And so these are the things you need to feed your soul with, your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's this is the last thing you said, financial and emotional security. Take the move, the need, the action quickly. The sooner that you close the gap and take quick action, that is when you're in momentum. That is the definition of momentum. So you need to manage your mind, and you need to manage your stinking thinking. You need to manage the way you're showing up in the world. And I am using the word need because it's a need. It is right now, it is, our life depends on it, how we're showing up. And stop running around like a scared bunny rabbit, afraid to lose. I know many of you are not, but just if anything, just shifting and reminding yourself of that. Roz and I always say that, like we're in the arena getting our ass kicked, just even anchoring to that. Yeah. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm behind on deadlines, or I'm overwhelmed, or whatever it means. Oh, but I'm in the arena. All right, I'm doing better than most. I'm not on the couch watching Netflix.
Yeah, and how awful is that, right? Because that's a lot of things that you're seeing right now are those people that are on the sidelines, and they're just, all they're doing is talking about, COVID-19, the coronavirus, and all these conspiracy theories and all of that. And it's like, I can't, all this week, all I've said to people is unfollow, right now, rid those people. Like, you've got to get rid of all of that. And it's so crucial. It is crucial. And like you were saying, especially right now with all that's going on in the world, you've got to mute that noise.
Yeah. Exactly. So here's one thing I would say. Here's what you want your thinking to reflect. And maybe you make a best practice at the beginning of the day, the end of the day. Like, what's my thinking reflecting? What's my energy reflecting right now? Because that's money. Money is energy. Clients are energy. How you show up, your energy that you're bringing is critical, and your thinking is critical. So you want your thinking to reflect that you are secure with who you are and what you bring to the table and the value that you bring to your clients, and that you have very little tolerance for self-abuse right now. And what I mean by that is you're thinking, shooting on yourself, shaming on yourself, beating yourself up for selling, not selling, whatever it might be. Keep it moving, keep in action, and while managing your mind. Because what you're thinking all day long is coming out to you in your conference Zooms or whatever you're doing. People are seeing that. So just keep telling yourself, I'm in the arena. And that is more than enough right now. And feeling confident and feeling worthy. And these are the things that you want to be telling yourself, that you're experiencing life, that you're showing up at life, that you're stretching yourself, that you're stretching your goals, that you're believing in the power of faith, of just co-creating with your clients, with us, with your employees, and that you are in service, and that you are moving, and that you are in action. But under no circumstance should you guys be using any of this as a weapon to beat the shit out of yourself.
Love it.
So we are going to start Monday, and we're going to be doing a whole series Monday through Friday next week. And the theme is going to be Together We Rise, managing overwhelm and uncertainty. So we're going to go Monday through Friday live at 11 Eastern. Roz and I realized we're going to set a time in case you want your team to come there. And we're going to be just speaking into this common theme of keeping you guys just really, really healthy and whole, and just really excited about what you're showing up for the day. And again, how am I doing today? That is more than enough, just one day at a time. And you got this.
You do. So proud of you.
So proud of you. Hopefully you are taking this weekend for rest and rejuvenation. I can tell you, Roz and I did that last weekend. We gave each other permission, and it made a world of a difference. And I can tell you, I couldn't wait to wake up Monday and just hit it again after 2 weeks of working nonstop every weekend. So go enjoy your family. If you celebrate Easter or what have you, I know it's different and it's tricky this time of year, but if you can anchor into gratitude and celebration, and really give yourself some time this weekend for the power of the pause, and just sit down and maybe write like 10, I don't care, 100, whatever you can come up with, no less than 10 things that you are so freaking incredibly proud for yourself and your team for what you have done in the past month. It's hard to believe that it's been a month, but you got to fill your own gas tank up right now and just be so incredibly. There's not one person in this group that cannot come up with at least 10 things you are so proud of yourself for.
Yeah, I love that.
All right. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.